Our city knows the sweet taste of victory. From the Stanley Cup to a Division I title win.
That still doesn't feel real.
A triumph isn't an end.
Now, new stories are being written, and Fox 5 and the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network is following every team on ice. With our UNLV Skatin Rebel national champions.
It's great for the city, it's great for hockey.
How will they defend their title?
Let's bring it home!
And the Henderson Silver Knights, skating with something to prove while building tomorrow's legends.
It's great to be able to teach and grow off a win.
Plus, how our youth teams are teaching kids to fly on ice. And what's in store for the new faces of the VGK, including their monsters in the north.
The Golden Knights are beefing up their minor leagues with the Night Monsters. These teams, our teams.
Where their victories become our victories. Building the future of hockey, one player at a time.
Vegas wanted hockey, Vegas got hockey.
Covering every team on the ice, this is Hockey in the Desert Weekly.
Welcome inside another edition of Hockey in the Desert Weekly. I'm your host, Vince Sapienza. Let's fire home a snapshot of what is in store over the next 30 minutes. We're going to take a look back at the action that was for the Knights this past week, including a historic run on the road from the HSK. Plus, I go one-on-one with VGK President of Business Operations, John Penhollow, exploring the topic of adding more ice around town. Plus, a week removed from Nationals, Skatin Rebels back in studio. But first, we're going to take a quick trip down memory lane. You know, when the Golden Knights won it all back in the summer of 2023, they scored 9 goals in that cup clincher. Riley Smith's tally turned out to be the game winner. And for whatever reason, that celebration and the emotion behind it is something I'll never forget watching live. Now, I bring that up because typically when Smith scores, it's a little more subdued. There's a little bit more restraint behind it. However, over the weekend, after finding the back of the net against Dallas, the emotions poured out once again, though for some very different reasons.
Here's Marner. A spin away from Harley. Still has it on a string out high, and a shot blocked. Loose puck, score! Riley Smith gives the Golden Knights the lead with 3:38 left.
So after serving as a healthy scratch for the past 5 games, 6 of the last 7, Smith helped the Knights snap a 3-game losing streak and lift Vegas to their first road win in regulation since February 25th. It was Smith's 12th of the year, playing on a line with Mitch Marner and Pavel Dorofeyev.
Felt like the two-man game between me and Mitch was really good tonight. Created a lot of offense, and just from that, it created extended ozone shifts, and we held on to pucks and kind of forced them to chase us. Throughout the whole game, I feel like we created a lot of offensive chances, and nice to finally cash one away right at the end. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of tight games when you are in your last 10, 15 games in the season, so you have to build on positives. Losing 3 in a row is never good at this time of year, so we have to make sure we're scoring timely goals, and I was fortunate enough to be able to help the group.
Now, while Smith was the hero, he wasn't the only one putting together highlight reel goals. Braden McNabb opened the scoring for the guys in goal, going coast to coast in the first period, picking up his 4th of the season. And then in the second, down 2-1, Ivan Barbashev puts home his 20th of the year and first in 8 games, roofing that one on the power play.
You know, it felt like a playoff game, to be honest. I think we controlled the game for the most part. I think, we started the first period with quite a few mistakes, but, I think we got rid of them in the second and third, and we just kept pushing. Probably one of the better games all season long. So against a really good team, a huge win, and everyone is happy.
I thought it was. I mean, in terms of how they check, they don't give you much. When we're at our best, we play that way. Not a lot of room out there. So yeah, I felt it was, and our emotion for our guys. Listen, we haven't done a lot of winning lately, so we needed a game like this where a little adversity, push through it, playoff atmosphere, and then for us now we got to carry it forward, right? We've got to recognize that if that's what it takes to win, that's what it takes. There hasn't been a lot of easy games for us, especially lately, so I'll dig in on the hard ones.
So from Dallas to Winnipeg we go. Unfortunately, that finishing ability we saw Sunday against the Stars did not make the trip. It was a bit of deja vu in the first. Vegas outshot the Jets 13-5, yet they trailed 1-0 on the scoreboard. And then in the second, they give up 2 goals in the first 4 minutes of play, now staring at a 3-0 hole. The Knights would find some life on the power play for the second straight game, though it's the second unit cashing in. Colton Sissons, his first marker on the man advantage with the VGK, and his 6th of the season. cutting the deficit to 2. Plenty of juice in the building. Tempers would rise late in the stanza. The Manitoban himself, Brett Howden, dropping the gloves with Mark Scheifele. A spirited bout, but Vegas still trailed after 2. The Knights were unable to get any closer from there on out. Scheifele completes the Gordie Howe hat trick by filling the empty net late, handing Vegas their 40th loss of the season through 72 games, 4-1 your final.
I think today we've been having kind of some stretches of hockey in periods where we're making some mistakes and maybe not executing and not bearing down on some pucks, and we're getting burned. And it's tough to go down a few goals this time of year. As we know, we've been in that position a little bit too often.
They get 1, they get 2, they get 3. I think that's been kind of our issue. We don't stop the bleeding, soon enough, and feels like almost every time we let the first one in, it's a 3-0 game, and we got to chase the rest of the game. So, frustrating because I think, once again, I think we're the better team in the first period, and we just got to stop the bleeding earlier. Frustration won't help you at this point, and we got to find a way to, come together, and there's obviously a little bit of positives, but this time of the year, it's about wins.
We just got to find ways to win hockey games down the stretch. Might not be the same way every night, but we definitely have the class of players and the character in here to find ways. So we'll rally together and we'll be fine.
They've struggled 5-on-5 and the power play for a while now, so they just got to get their confidence back to make plays and finish some plays. It's that simple. I mean, their top guys are all over the score sheet. You can get away with it for a while, but it's a number of games now. It's going to need to change for us.
All right, so here's a look at the Pacific Division standings. Just 10 games to go for the Golden Knights in the regular season. They sit third in the division with 78 points, 6 back of Anaheim, who's in first place, 1 point back of the Oilers, who just so happen to be in town Thursday night at T-Mobile Arena for what is no doubt a massive game with plenty of postseason implications. Now, earlier this week, the Golden Knights signed goaltender Pavel Moisevich to a 3-year entry-level contract. Drafted in the 3rd round by the VGK in 2024, the 21-year-old goaltender has played in 31 games over the last 3 seasons in the KHL, where he has a combined .912 save percentage. Moisevich stands at 6'6", 200 pounds, and during the 2023-24 season, he played in 13 KHL games, posting a save percentage of .942, which still stands as a single-season record for a goaltender under 20 years of age. Despite all the ice work, just getting warmed up here on Hockey in the Desert Weekly. Speaking of ice, is there enough here in the Valley? The Golden Knights' new president of business operations says no. Coming up, I go one-on-one with John Penhallow, who explains the challenges keeping up with the demand of hockey in the desert and the organization's goals to fill those needs moving forward.
You're watching Hockey in the Desert Weekly.
Welcome back inside Hockey in the Desert. Vince Sapienza here. The Silver Knights are getting hot at the right time of the year, having won 7 of their last 8 with 11 games left in their regular season. Henderson sits 6th in the Pacific, though just 2 points out of 4th place.
Up the right wing boards, Hemmerling out to center, lead pass for Lavoie, gets behind Chris, Lavoie's in, he scores!
Sunday night over at Lee's Family Forum, the Silver Knights left Texas seeing stars, beating the guys in green 7-3. It's the 3rd time in the last 5 games Henderson's offense has scored at least 7 goals, and through 71 games, HSK lead the entire American Hockey League with 221 goals scored. Raphael Lavoie scored 21 seconds into the game, 1 of 2 on the night. He now has 9 goals in his last 7 games and 13 in his last 13. He was recently named the AHL Player of the Week.
Well, we saw it early. We saw it early with him, with different line mates. Now he's kind of slid into that spot with Lazinski and Hemmerling, and they've continued to play their game with Lavi there. We know he's a shooter. We've seen it before he came to us. We had to deal with it. Now he's on our side, which is a good thing for us. But a confident guy. I think Lavi's details lead to him having opportunities. We saw he hits the breakaway late in the 3rd with a good stick and a good job in D zone. So he's a big horse for us. We want to continue to keep going.
Now, prior to the weekend split with Dallas, the Silver Knights completed their most successful road trip in franchise history, winning 6 straight games, all in an 11-day span, scoring a combined 37 goals. The team recorded 3 different hat tricks on the trip, one of which was Mitch McLean. The Silver Knights assistant captain did it against his former team in Calgary. All 3 goals came on the man advantage. He now has a career-high 19 on the season. Thursday night at Scotiabank Saddledome, HSK scored 5 power play goals in total against the Wranglers, also a franchise best.
I love this city. Every time I fly in, I get butterflies. I loved my time here. Had a great group of guys to kind of go through that section of life with, and I know that sometimes when I was here, they'd scratch their head with me on the power play, so it feels really good to get 3 tonight on the power.
Swick, a chance out front. Alger, a shot. He scores! Goal.
Over the weekend, in their first ever trip to Toledo and matchup with the Walleye, the Night Monsters come away with a 2-1 series victory, taking the rubber match in overtime 4-3. Tahoe climbs up to 7th in the Western Conference, but remain in 4th place in their division with 10 games to go. Now, don't forget, the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network is your home for Night Monsters hockey. The next time you can watch them, March 29th. Now, there is no question Las Vegas is a hockey market, and it's not just because of the product at the NHL level or even the level of interest from the fans. More importantly, it's the participation numbers of the boys and girls playing the game. When John Penhallow was hired as president of business operations for the Golden Knights last summer, there was quite a bit on his to-do list, one of which was exploring ways to create more ice around the valley.
Ice is at a premium. I'm coming from a market that in Minnesota, you don't have to drive more than 5 miles and you're going to run into a rink. You almost take it for granted how accessible things are. But here, the group has done a great job with what's available. But the reality is, for us to get to the next level, it's not just about attracting new players, it's also developing the players that are in the system now. And being on the ice once or twice a week, it can work when they're really young, but for them to really grow and develop, they might need to be on there more than that. And so, but to do that, we don't have the ice. So we have 2 sheets here at City National, which is amazing, incredibly busy every hour of the day. America First Center, very busy. Same concept there. The Silver Knights practice down there, whereas the Vegas Golden Knights practice here. We have Leafs Family Forum, which is where the Silver Knights play, and we are now starting to put the youth teams on that ice. And then we have other sheets in town. Hilo is a rink that we're managing on behalf of another entity. We're trying to help. Yeah. It's a chance to move some ice. And then obviously there's a great group at Las Vegas Ice Garden, Kenny and team. They're doing a great job to get kids on the ice. So we all have a collective reason here to help. The project in the future, though, is how do we get more sheets? It could be a 2 or 4 sheeter, it could be a 6 sheeter. And the concept, though, would be, if you're going to do that, can you really do it? Can you put in the training facilities that surround it? Can you provide the proper medical, nutritional, the wellness pieces? Can you provide access to the community instead of a private concept? I would tell you that having built these before in Minnesota, we built, which at the time was the state of the art. It's still known as one of the best in the entire NFL, and others are copying it now. But it was mostly a private idea. It was for the Vikings to train and develop. It wasn't really for all of you to kind of come walking in. The concept that we could consider here is a multiple sheet where the Golden Knights could really elevate what they're doing, and the Silver Knights potentially, but then make it accessible to the public, much like how this is accessible to the public. The challenge here, though, is that the kids that want to take it to the next level, there's nowhere for them to shoot, as an example. There's nowhere for them to have maybe some of the meals that the athletes that are already elite or the athletes that are maybe on their way to being elite would require. Do we have the technology in the venue? Do we have a broadcast studio? These are all questions that are fair to ask, and if you could put all those in one facility or one venue, what could that do to the sport? And then what could that do to other sports that are potentially going to explode next, like lacrosse? Lacrosse is something that state certification, great work by so many to make that happen. I'm coming from a state where the best hockey players also play lacrosse, and the best lacrosse athletes probably play hockey. And so it's a complementary sport, the hand-eye coordination, the speed, the physicality. So could we be part of that? It's a conversation inside our building. So the answer is a big yes to what you're asking. Now, how do you do it? Where do you put it? How big do you go? Who else is involved? Very complicated set of discussions.
Still ahead on Hockey in the Desert, it's time to turn our attention to the Scarlet and Gray. A little more than a week after seeing their season come to a close, Dylan Kuntz joins me in studio as he and his teammates begin to reflect on the season that was and what comes next for the program. Welcome back inside Hockey in the Desert. We've talked gold, silver. Time to talk a little scarlet and gray. And to do that, we had to bring in one of the members of the Skatin Rebels, scarlet and gray, Dylan Kuntz.
Good to see you.
Number 22, the defenseman for your favorite program in the Valley. All right, Dylan, I know this wasn't easy. I appreciate you coming in. A week removed from the national tournament. Obviously, your nationals come to a close earlier than you would have thought, falling in overtime in the semifinals to Adrian. Let's rip the Band-Aid off and let's get into the controversy that was. Tied at 2 late in the game, 19 seconds left. You were on the ice and you rip an absolute ripper from the blue line. Walk me through your point of view, what you heard, everything that came about with it.
Yeah, honestly, I got a good pass from my partner, and I got a good shot. I saw Estabrook going to the net, so I just tried to get it to the net. And then I saw it go in. We were all celebrating, and then we see the ref say it calls no goal. We were really obviously confused why and all that. And then the ref comes up to us and says, you want to review it? If we review it, then it might be a penalty if it's not overturned. Then the ref saw what they saw, and we don't agree with it, but they said it, so we can't really disagree with them.
So the ref said no goal, goaltender interference. You guys elected to challenge the play. The refs stood with what they called on the ice, that there was goaltender interference. It goes to overtime. Adrian eventually come out on top. Talk to me what's happening in that moment. You're jumping, you're celebrating. Are you in real time saying, is Estabrook sitting there saying, there's no way? There's no way that's goaltender interference? Or what is that conversation like on the bench?
Oh, yeah. Both coaches look at each other, and then they talk to Estabrook, and Estabrook was like, I don't remember touching him. I don't think I touched him. And then we were really deciding, and then I just remember Oliver Band coming up and saying, we're in Vegas. We've got to roll the dice. And, yeah.
Obviously, it went the way it went, not the results you wanted. Talk to me about Nationals in general. You were obviously named honorable mention for all-tournament team. Talk to me about the experience. Again, I know how the result finished, but what did you take away from the group, both personally and as a team?
I thought it's obviously the best time of the year, for sure. Obviously, you're playing teams that we played at the beginning of the year. We played GCU a lot. They were close games. But no matter what or who you play, it's going to be a hard battle. And it's the best part of the year. And then obviously it didn't work out like we wanted it to. But yeah.
Talk to me about your game in particular. We've talked a couple times throughout this season. You talked about how your game was coming along. You really liked where it's at. When you get to Nationals and everybody's trying to be at the optimum level that they are, how did you feel by the time you got there? And what did you make of this past season for you yourself?
Honestly, yeah, I thought I had a solid year this year. I thought for our whole team, at the beginning of the year, we were just a little bit struggling. And obviously there's new faces and a lot of seniors left last year. But I really was happy while we ended the year, but obviously next year will be next year.
At what point do you as a group kind of move past what happened last week and be able to reflect on all the good that did happen and how you guys were able to build the program even a little bit more?
Yeah, obviously you can think about what happened obviously this year and then going into next year. But you forget about it, but then at the back of your mind you always remember what happened, and you don't want that feeling ever again. And this year we had the seniors coming in, and they said how bad it sucked when they lost. And then now having the feeling now that we have, it's probably a good thing that we have this.
You know, I spoke with your head coach, Anthony Greener, last week, and he talked about we're absolutely using this as fuel. And it's not just a chip on the shoulder. It is us against everybody. It's us against the league. How much do you guys wear that now, kind of with a badge of honor, so to speak? And how does that fuel you in your summer preparations for the next season?
Yeah, it'll be big for summer, obviously. We're going to be if you don't want to go work out for a day, then you just think about, oh, wait, we lost. That's really going to feel a lot of the guys. And then going into next year, we're going to have obviously a big chip on our shoulder, and everyone's going to be doubting us like they did this year, and then we're going to really prove ourselves.
How do you channel that anger, that frustration that was the last couple weeks into what is going to be a long summer, right? You talked about it off camera. You got a mental reset, got to rest the body, but then it's back to work, come summertime.
Exactly, yeah. You got to rest your body for sure. It's a gruesome season that we have, but once summer comes around, that's where you really strive and get your best game that you can play. So, yeah, it'll be a good thing.
Last one before we let you go. Obviously, the season is a wrap, but the campaign is not done. Obviously, the final to-do on the to-do list is the 20th Gala. UNLV celebrating both not only the season, but the past seasons as well. And this is one of those massive, massive events for the program in terms of being able to sustain the program.
Yes, exactly. This is a huge program, or a huge deal that our program does, and it really helps fund the team with all the traveling and the costs that we do, but this is one of our biggest fundraisers for sure.
Tickets still on sale at rebelshockey.com. Go check it out. Tickets available as well. A lot of good stuff at the auction as well. Dylan Kuntz, congrats on a great season. We appreciate the time. As always, we'll chat soon.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, coming up next, it is time once again to clear the ice here on Hockey in the Desert Weekly. Stay with us. As we close our time to wrap up Hockey in the Desert Weekly by clearing the ice. And to do that, we go to America First Center, site of the 10U House League Championship game, where the Bombers capped off one of the most memorable seasons in House League history, adding another piece of hardware to the trophy case after 2 in-season tournament championships. The Bombers finished the regular season with a record of 14-1-2, good enough for the #1 seed. 100 goals scored in just 17 games, sporting a +70 goal differential, both tops in the league. The Bombers exploded in the championship finale, a 7-2 final, etching their names in Henderson hockey history for eternity. A congrats to the players, to the coaches, to the parents. That is how you clear the ice with a good old-fashioned yard sale of sticks, gloves, and helmets. Thanks for joining us here on Hockey in the Desert Weekly. We'll see you next week.